Women's rights? Oh, nothing is more important than that. And I employ tens of thousands of women as the CEO of a progressive Fortune 500 company. I mean, women need to have the right to choose. And as many women as possible should choose to spend their 20s, 30s, 40s, maybe to the mid 40s working here. Then we'll get rid of you, okay? And that's called equality. Equality? You know, you talk about that a little bit, you can get away with murder around here. It's about men's productivity too. If I had to go to the birth of every child, of every woman I knocked up, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to close the Pfizer deal. And those mandates made us billions. There is no right that, when threatened, costs me more money. So let's do some math here. $500, $1,000, gotta pay some travel fees. What, you don't need more than one night of lodging, do you? Yeah, we're gonna say.
Well, if you're trying to make money these days, well, that policy makes a lot of sense. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Radowski here of WeAreChange.org, and we got some earth-shattering news to get into today. As, of course, internationally, things are bombastic, to say the least, with tensions rising between Russia, China, and the United States. There's a major sentencing, a major decision in the United States, as the streets here in major democratic cities are looking like war zones themselves. As, of course, there has been a huge uptick in crime, which we've been warning and telling you about for a very long time. It's only going to be increasing from here. What's the latest happening in San Francisco, Florida, LA? Well, we're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more, all on this independent media broadcast. But before we do, the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast is by Jeremy Kauffman. He's actually running for Senate here in the state of New Hampshire, and we, of course, will be linking his YouTube channel and the full video that he just did, which is pretty funny, down in the description below, so you could watch it in its entirety after this video. And I think Jeremy definitely hit the nail on the head when it comes to the corporate policy of many international bigwig companies out there that like to pretend that they're after equality and rights, when in reality they're making policies that will make them profit the most. You will devote your entire life to them, they'll replace you in a day. Wake up, America, and stop serving your corporate overlords. Now, back to the news, or as some people call distraction. This, as we have had a lot of distractions recently about absolute nonsense. This, as there are mentally engineered psyopses that are absolutely meant to waste our times, just like TikTok filters that now are being blamed as, quote, fatphobic because they showed people how they would look if they would gain a few pounds. This, as some people who are seeing themselves fat without the filter are coming out and saying, oh, no, it's a huge violation for everyone else to look like me. And oh man, are some big ladies mad? And if you thought this wasn't a wasteful distraction, taking away, sucking your time that you have on this plane of existence, wait until you hear about the latest scandal with Beyonce. This, as she's being accused of being a, quote, ableist by saying the word spaz. Yes, there's a controversy trying to cancel Beyonce because she uses the word spaz, which she dropped, which The Guardian writes they were, quote, rendered speechless by ignorance, sadness, and simmering anger, born of bone-deep exhaustion. As this Hannah Divini writes, because a performer used the word that she didn't like. These are the issues gripping a failing empire and a nation, while, of course, lawlessness is spread all throughout democratic cities in the United States. As you would think, this would be more of a topic of discussion, as, of course, cost of living going up, prices of everything going up, poverty going up, mental health crisis going up, corporate profits, government regulations and taxes, government control over your life destroying your existence, record highs, along with a big pharma unliable criminal class. You would think that would be more of a discussion here, and it's not. It's absolutely sick and sadistic to see what is happening to people living in New York City, where even MMA fighters have to intervene and act like police officers, as of course they usually are slow to respond respond. Some of them don't respond at all. In New Orleans, response times are over an hour. A lot of the times when the cops come, they don't actually help the citizens that are being hurt. So individuals like Ro Malabanan have to intervene when they see lunatics literally running around and sucker punching people, and have to detain them so the police officers could come there and actually deal with the crazy people wreaking havoc on society. Crazy people that have been aided and abetted by billionaires in our society that put in woke district attorneys, which cheer on and promote a lot of this lawlessness, as we so often see in New York City, where a group of police officers were ambushed, were attacked, and had glass bottles thrown on them as they were arresting a gang member who previously injured 4 officers. The gang member had a loaded handgun, which is, of course, illegal in New York City. Oh, who would have thought? A criminal not following the law? Made your mind spasm. What? Yeah, that's a shock to many liberals and Democrats out there. But this is just one event out of many events that are just absolutely mind-boggling. Just recently, we heard about a young McDonald's worker that lost his life because he served fries that were cold, as the man arrested for this during his perp walk is confessing to even killing more people. This another deranged, mentally unstable lunatic whose mother is coming out and saying that it was self-defense, that he shot a defenseless McDonald's worker for giving him cold fries. And I think it's fair to say here that mother definitely didn't do a good job raising her son. But this is a man who's a product of our modern day society, of our modern system and institutions that have clearly failed him, while of course never holding him accountable, and failing to do so on many times for his egregious actions. Now, is this a mistake? Is this an accident? No. This is a deliberate plan by a billionaire that we can't even mention here on this platform that has literally financed district attorneys like this all throughout the United States that have created this kind of situation. This is in one part why we are facing such criminality, as of course there's many paths that lead to this problem, but I think the most evident one are these woke DAs that of course punish people as severely as they can if they have a different political ideology than they do, while of course excusing crime if the criminal is a certain skin color or political affiliation that aligns with that party, a woke party, a Democratic party that has been usurped by the multinational corporations and billionaires that are essentially creating a RoboCop-like situation. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look at the plotline of the original RoboCop and be prepared to be surprised. Great movie, by the way. This, as the new San Francisco District Attorney today, is promising to revoke many of the plea deals made by the previous district attorney, who was put in there by a billionaire who was recalled and failed to, quote, prosecute a single fentanyl seller. This, as many drug dealers were sentenced to drug treatment counseling, even though probably many of them didn't have any problems with taking the drugs. They were just selling them. Drugs that were probably brought in by the Chinese or the CIA or some other corrupted federal government that, of course, is using shadowy secret dark money in order to finance their operations, just like they did with Iran-Contra. How do we have all this fentanyl all over the streets? The U.S. government doesn't know. Yeah, right. This, as Florida is even taking an extra step more than San Francisco, as the governor there, Ron DeSantis, has just suspended the, quote, Soros-funded Democratic Florida prosecutor, specifically for ignoring the laws and not upholding them. Specifically when it comes to hot-button topic issues that we can't discuss here on this platform. In Los Angeles, the homelessness, the craziness has reached such a level that the local city council literally voted just to prohibit homeless camps being built within 500 feet of schools. This is not a big ask. This shouldn't be controversial. Hey, homelessness, drug use, hey, maybe just do it 500 feet away from school, please. No. And of course, the woke mob in Los Angeles came out and protested this rule, which pretty much won't change anything except maybe safeguard some children, and it was met by woke protesters, all of them of course wearing masks, which is absolutely crazy in my opinion. Not as crazy as the US federal government and the FBI recently declaring, according to new documents leaked by Project Veritas, that the Federal Bureau of Investigation classifies American citizens as potential militia violent extremists if they believe in the principles of capitalism. Yes, and caps. have been listed as a targeted group, as well as other individuals who believe in the Gadsden flag, who believe in the Second Amendment, who believe in the Bill of Rights, who the FBI accuses of all representing symbols, images, phrases, events, and individuals that the Federal Bureau of Investigation should look after, because God forbid people talk about principles of liberty, personal responsibility, and also capitalism. Gee whiz! Oh no, we're talking about free markets. We're allowing people to barter. We're allowing people to freely trade and to commence commerce. Crazy goes the Federal Bureau of Investigations and the FBI agents watching your every move, which is absolutely unhinged, crazy, and insane. ANCAPs are listed, a part of this group. Anarcho-communists that clearly do create violence, do burn down buildings, do attack and harass journalists, beat them up, are not seen as a threat, but ANCAPs that are predominantly nerds who talk about capitalism are. This is absolutely insane, crazy, and shows you the downward spiral that this country is headed into. As of course, with this latest FBI news, we also have a coordinated PR campaign by a lot of very powerful World Economic Forum influenced individuals. Of course, I'm the Prime Minister of New Zealand, the strange drama class teacher Justin Trudeau, Klaus Schwab, and the United Nations, all coming out at the same time with a PR coordinated talking point that conspiracy theorists are, quote, dangerous. Is this correlated with the FBI? We don't know. I'm just speculating here. But I think it's fair to say that people not obeying the system and the current insanity that they have caused, people being disenfranchised, disillusioned, unhappy, robbed of their liberty, of their personal safety, of their life, is something that the federal authorities and central controllers really do not like. As of course, it's not only you being robbed by the criminals that they let loose on the streets, it's also you being robbed by the Federal Reserve policies. And if you would think there would be anything that would bridge the gap between the left and the right, it would be the economic suffering put on them by the central controllers. Again, grocery prices soaring, workers' wages stagnating, corporate profits of governments interconnected with government sky high, baby formula shortages still in place, and yet the thing that the FBI, that the corporate media seems as a problem is you critically thinking about these issues, these things, and trying to be personally responsible for yourself, which is absolutely unhinged and dangerous, all a part of their coordinated plan, which we discuss a lot of the times on LukeUncensored.com, and how not to be a victim of their particular plan with specific strategies, tips, tricks. We discuss a lot of these personal things all on LukeUncensored.com, our own platform. We get to say and do whatever we want. We're not done with the video. We still got a lot of crazy news coming in from China. But before we get into that, again, if you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? We have a members area with a forum, 3 master classes, exclusive merchandise, only available for members of LukeUncensored.com. We will be continuing this conversation as well as a deeper one specifically about what is happening during a very important court proceeding that we can't even mention here on this broadcast. And we're going to be talking about that plus a lot more later on today on LukeUncensored.com, as well as continuing our AMA. If you want to ask me anything, I will answer it only on LukeUncensored.com, where we are also working on a lot of exciting projects together with members. The future is with private memberships, is with exclusive clubs, is with organizations providing you everything that they can to be a part of their members only group. This is our members group. 50 cents a day, and truly, I am putting my blood, sweat, and tears into this product, and a lot of the people that signed up are very happy that they did so. Sign up now, LukeUncensored.com, click the link and down in the description below. Now, if that wasn't crazy on bombastic enough of a situation to deal with domestically, internationally, the situation is also just as crazy and bombastic. This, as of course today, we have new footage of the Chinese military rehearsing their drills of bombing Taiwan. This, as of course they were testing their long-range rocket systems, flying rockets, of course, across the Taiwanese Strait today, signaling, of course, very aggressive military posturing against that country. This, as the situation between the United States and China is worsening, so is, of course, the situation between the United States and Russia. This, as just moments ago, the U.S. Senate voted 95-1 to approve Finland and Sweden's accession to NATO border countries, of course, near Russia. This will, of course, escalate tensions and the situation between NATO and Russia, which, of course, are already very tumultuous. This, as the NATO chief just came out today and said that if Russia attacks any kind of NATO country, the entire alliance will react. This, as also the NATO chief came out and said that the Ukrainian war is the most dangerous situation in Europe since World War II. And I would agree with him. It's an extremely reckless situation. It's a situation that should be de-escalated at all costs, and it's not. A lot of the policies, a lot of the decisions are escalating it. Is this the right move? I'm not here to judge that, but I'm here to call it out for what it is. As, of course, this news is met to the chagrin and profits of the military-industrial complex that has an invested interest in escalating this conflict rather than de-escalating it. There should be some serious talk, some serious considerations about peace talks, about truces, about neutrality, about deals that could be made to, of course, stop the further life loss of innocents of people in that country, and there's none of that. There's just enough weaponry sent to prolong it, not to have a decisive victory. This, as today, Brittany Griner, a WNBR sports ball player, was just sentenced to 9 years in a Russian prison for smuggling in marijuana into that country after being convicted of being called a drug smuggler. Now, I don't think she's a drug smuggler. It's a little bit egregious to sentence someone to 9 years for a personal item that an individual wanted to consume, as again, it was one vape pen that was caught here. And even though some Republicans are bringing up how Brittany Griner criticized the United States, didn't like the United States before, I think it's fair to say that what's happening here is very politically motivated, as of course Russia is trying to do a prisoner swap between Brittany Griner and one of their Russian citizens. And once again, human life is in the midst of governments sacrificing individuals for their own personal gain, which is absolutely insane. This is why maybe the principles of decentralization, which the FBI targets, should be a matter of discussion to try to rectify and prevent future situations like this. States and governments are one of the most dangerous institutions and elements against human society, and when you read history, you understand that, and this is why more than ever, you shouldn't trust anything that you see. You should start questioning everything yourself, doing your own homework, doing your own research, having an open mind, and most importantly, thinking for yourself as an individual. What I said here is just my own personal perspective and opinion. What you think should be completely different, as of course no two people should think the same, and if they do, someone's a leader, someone's a follower. We all need to be leaders during this time, for my own personal opinion. And if you agree with that, share this video with your friends and family members. One more video coming your way on LukeUncensored.com. It's going to be a very important one, highlighting, again, a crazy court case. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. This is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for a lot more here on WeAreChange.org.